Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Signal here, and welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm gonna let some gameplay play in the background while I talk about the compensation drama. So first of all, let me paint the picture of what happened here. So as you know, all the Android players get a compensation of gems after the update dropped for the fact that a lot of the Android players were not able to play the game because the game automatically updated and their accounts were not yet ported to the updated version. That issue did not happen for any of the iOS players. And some people who are on iOS, and so my first look at the update video in the comments just pointed out, hey, I didn't receive any compensation. Some of the people who pointed that out maybe were not even aware of the bug on Android, were just not necessarily mad, but just curious where the gems went. They maybe felt like it was a bug for their account specifically that they didn't get the gems, and then I made a community post to like address the situation and like explain that, hey, those gems are for the Android players because Android had a bug that didn't let you play for up to 5 days before this update. And yeah, that's how it goes. And in the kind of comments of that, a war started between Android players and iOS players. Because I think it all started from a comments with like, how dare the iOS players like be mad about not getting the gems? They were able to play the goddamn game, and the whole comment section developed into a situation of Android versus iOS, who had it worse over time. And yeah, this kind of sets the stage for this video. And I wanted to briefly talk about it because it's something that pissed me off, and when something that pisses me off related to the game happens, I'm usually gonna talk about it. Okay, so first of all, not every single Android player was affected by this. I would say a minority of Android players to an extent were affected by this, and yeah, if you got affected by this, I'm sorry, that's pretty bad. I don't think you received enough of a compensation, but a lot of the Android players either were not affected or downloaded the APK file of the previous update and were still able to play. I personally was not affected on any of my accounts, and I still got the compensation. The only way you get hit with this bug is if you had automatic updates enabled in Google Play. And yeah, the compensation was very small for not being able to play the game for so long, and that was frustrating. On top of the frustration that the players had for not being able to play all those days, and then they get a small amount of gems compared to the progress they lost and the entertainment they lost by not being able to access the game, and the iOS people asking why they didn't get the gems, more like confused and angry, was kind of the last drop, and all that build-up frustration and anger at the game kind of sipped out into that, because you know, the game is not really a person you can scream at. It's not the physical entity that you can have an argument for. But the people on iOS who didn't get hit by this bug and were asking, where's my gems, are a physical person you can scream at. So that's why it kind of started. And I don't want to sound like I'm defending any side here, but there's honestly nothing wrong to want some free gems. I got mine for free. I didn't suffer from any of the downsides of this update bug that happened previously, and I'm happy I got them. And why aren't you angry at me for getting them? Weren't Android players also angry at the other Android players who didn't encounter this bug? Because like the iOS people only asked for the gems. I got the gems without asking for them, and I didn't care. I mean, I did care about the bugs, and I tried to help you out, guys, find ways around it, but it did not directly affect me, and I still got it. So yeah, it's honestly kind of dumb to be mad for people just being confused or wanting the gems, because a lot of the Android players who were not affected by the bug kind of got the gems anyway. And a lot of more things got brought up. For example, some people were mad about the fact, like retroactively, this happened a few months ago, but there was an artifact pack in the store section of the game that had a couple of artifacts on it and was meant to be, I think, $25 or $30, and you could buy it up to 5 times. And on iOS there was a bug where you could get that for $1, and obviously that was an insanely good deal for the iOS players. And a lot of people got mad about it, and you're definitely right to get mad about it in those situations, but not at the people who benefited from it. Because they didn't make an active, I mean, they made the active effort of buying it, but they didn't make an active effort for that to be placed in the store at that price, or for that not to be placed in the store for the Android side of things. You should be mad at the game, and a respectable company in this situation would then, as a compensation, give that offer also to the Android players, but that didn't happen. And again, the game is not a physical person you can get angry at, and you're gonna be like, oh, they got that, I didn't get that, I'm mad. Who am I mad at? I'm gonna be mad at them because they got more than I got. That's effectively what happened in that situation too. And a lot of people also forget the differences between iOS and Android whenever it's not something to be mad about and it's not something that benefited anybody. Because iOS in the same year when they get that pack deal also had like 3 to 4 months where League of Anarchy was unusable because it was simply not able to hit crits, and that took ages to fix. And I think also the Batman Ninja Team was kind of bugged on iOS too, or something like that. Like, that was a crippling bug, and they received absolutely no compensation for it when it was fixed. And yeah, I also got criticized myself when I said the Androids. I said the Android players should have gotten more gems. That was not criticized, but I said also the iOS players should have gotten some. And I saw comments. He was like, "See, Balto, you're wrong on this one. The iOS players should not have gotten any compensation. They didn't suffer." Bro, the game was updated. I don't know if you guys are playing other games, but usually when a game goes down for maintenance, regardless if they're fixing any bugs or not, regardless if there was a big issue with the game, simply a maintenance update that lasts 2 hours or something like that, most games will drop you in the inbox a nice low reward of gems to not be sad that you waited for 2 hours for the game to go back up, and to be happy to open the game again after the update. And Justin Mobile does this sometimes, not every single time, so this is what I was referring to. I think after every single update, everybody should get a decent amount of gems, because it's new update. Let's be happy about it together, and let's not be mad that you had to constantly check if the game was playable while it was getting updated. That was what I meant. And I didn't say that. Honestly, probably, I think iOS players should have gotten the same amount the Android players got for the compensation for this bug, and the Android players who got hit with the bug, or every single Android player, though it's yet again a weird argument because many of them didn't even get affected by it. For the Android bug, I would have said 10,000 gems would be a more accurate compensation. So yeah, how am I wrong with this? But yeah, it's overall just people being angry at the game, and rightfully so, and that frustration kind of sips into the whole community, and that sucks because we're in this together regardless of the platform we're playing on, and we're enjoying a game despite the fact that it's managed by people who do a terrible job at it, an absolutely terrible job at it, and it's a pretty fun game despite it. And yeah, if you're gonna be angry at something, try to not be at people who have nothing to do with the things that pissed you off in the first place about this game. That's kind of the opinion I have in this video. This was kind of all over the place, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this. Let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!